In the meeting of our city council meeting, I'd like you to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the roll.
Legansky.
Here.
Shower.
Here.
Stompanato. Here. Sullivan.
Here.
Kenny.
Here.
Gustafson. Belzak.
Here.
6 present.
We have a quorum. That takes us to questions, comments, and announcements of a general nature. This was put on our agenda a number of years ago for individuals who don't want to stay the entire meeting, who may have something they wanted to share with the council. Does anybody from the audience have something they want to share with the council that's not on our agenda? Okay. Then I will go to the approval of the minutes. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of April 21st, 2025. Moved by Alderman Kenny, seconded by Alderman Shower. Questions or comments regarding those minutes? None, the roll.
Kenny.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
The minutes have been approved. Receiving of communications. Do any of the aldermen have communications they'd like to share with the council? Alderman Kenny.
I just have one there. Andrew Brunson contacted myself today because I think Alderman Shower was tied up regarding the item that we've got in our consent agenda tonight about the Plainfield Road property.
Thank you. Mary?
I received a communication from Adriana Broderick last Friday regarding vandalism at Carriage Greens. And unfortunately, this has happened before. Vandalism to the golf course, to one of the tee boxes. If you're not a golfer, that's where you start to play a hole. And, obviously they've been working very hard to have the course ready for a new season. They've been reopened and quite a bit of damage was done to that area. They've had problems in the past with some golf cart damage. And, I just want to reiterate that if you see anything or hear anything, to please report it to the police. I know the Carriage Greens management is looking at taking some provisions, whether it's additional fencing or cameras, so that they can, set eyes on the individuals that have done this in the, and hopefully won't do it in the future. But, obviously this is unacceptable. It is private property. I just want to reiterate, Carriage Greens Golf Course is private property. It is not a public park. It is not owned by the city of Darien or the Darien Park District. And that, you should not be trespassing. You should not be walking on it, especially when it's an active golf course. We don't want anyone to get hurt. So once again, if you have heard or seen anything regarding the overnight vandalism last Thursday into Friday, please call the Darien Police.
If I could add to that, about 23 years ago, we had significant damage to the Carriage Greens golf course. Golf carts being driven into the water, damage to the tees, damage to the greens. And the Broderick family actually considered putting a fence around the entire golf course. And the homeowners, we had a meeting with the homeowners and we called them together. And Carriage Greens actually said, if this doesn't stop, we're going to put a fence up between your house and the golf course. And that was enough for the homeowners to investigate themselves who did the damage. And we eventually caught the people who did the damage. And I think Adriana said in her email that they would consider fences if this doesn't stop. So I don't think anybody wants to see fences on Carriage Greens Country Club. So I really hope we can find out the culprits, because that damage was pretty
It was
significant.
very severe.
Anyone else? Okay. Takes us to the mayor's report. We have a number of items tonight on the mayor's report. First item is consideration of a motion to approve the appointment, and I hope I say it right, Joe, Joseph Kieckhofer? Okay, to the Environmental Committee. And just to let you know, we had 3 openings on the Environmental Committee. And with Joe's pending appointment tonight, we're now at a full 7. And we could begin having that committee meet again. A motion to approve. Alderman Belzak, second by Alderman Shower. Any questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Belzak.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Leganski.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
Joe, you've been approved. You want to come forward, please?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Joseph P. Gafer,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
Environmental Committee
Environmental Committee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, and if I could have your signature on this side. And this is for you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have 3 proclamations tonight. Our first proclamation is National Police Week. Whereas National Police Week 2025 honors the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving our communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Darien Police Department. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, there are currently more than 24,000 law enforcement officers in the United States that have made the ultimate sacrifice in being killed in the line of duty. Thankfully, no members of the Darien Police Department. And whereas 147 new names of fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial who were killed in 2024. And whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 37th Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2025. And whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of the National Police Week, which will be observed this year, May 11th to the 17th. And whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. Now therefore, I, Joseph A. Marquez, Mayor of the City of Darien, do hereby proclaim May 11th to the 17th, 2025, as National Police Week in the City of Darien. And the City of Darien publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. Chief, would you like to come forward and accept this?
The Police Week was started by President Kennedy, I forget which year. It was a very honorable thing I think he did to make sure that police officers are honored in this way. Last Sunday, they had a blue mass at a church in Naperville. Next week, we'll start a number of different memorials that different agencies will have. So appreciate the proclamation. I'll forward that on to the officers.
Thank you, Chief. All right. Our next is proclamation National Public Works Week. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the City of Darien. And whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the City of Darien to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, Canadian Public Works Association, be it resolved, now therefore I, Joseph A. Marquez, Mayor of the City of Darien, do hereby designate the week of May 18th to the 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week in the City of Darien. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing the quality of life for all. Mr. Gondek. Would you like
Thank
to
you,
say a
Mayor.
few words?
Sure, I'd love to. It's not all bells and whistles, Greg. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Obviously, this is a great thing for our Public Works to be recognized. You know, people have always told municipalities, what are the three main things that we're known for? Turning on the water, good streets, and police protection. Everything else is ancillary. So from the snow plowing to the catastrophes that come through every so often, Public Works has always been there. And I know the guys really appreciate this, so thank you.
When we finish tonight, I'd like to get a picture with you and Greg up front here, okay? And we have a third, and we've done this before. This is a proclamation for Motorcycle Awareness Month. Whereas safety is the highest priority for the highways and streets of our city and state, whereas the great state of Illinois is proud to be a national leader in motorcycle safety, education, and awareness, and whereas motorcycles are a primary, common, and economical means of transportation that reduces fuel consumption and road wear and contributes in a significant way to the relief of traffic and parking congestion. And whereas it is especially meaningful that the citizens of our city and state be aware of motorcyclists on the roadways and recognize the importance of motorcycle safety. And whereas the members of ABATE of Illinois, which stands for a brotherhood aimed towards education, continually promote motorcycle safety, education, and awareness in high school driver's education programs and to the general public in our city and state, presenting motorcycle awareness programs to over 120,000 participants in Illinois over the past 9 years. And whereas all motorcyclists should join ABATE of Illinois Incorporated in actively promoting the safe operation of motorcycles, as well as promoting motorcycle safety, education, awareness, and respect of the citizens of our city and state. And whereas the motorcyclists of Illinois have contributed extensive volunteerism and money to national and community charitable organizations, and whereas during the month of May, all roadway users should unite in the safe sharing of roadways within the city of Darien and throughout the great state of Illinois. Now therefore, I, Joseph A. Marquez, Mayor of the City of Darien, in the great state of Illinois, in recognition of 38 years of ABATE of Illinois Incorporated, and over 352,318 registered motorcyclists statewide, and in recognition of continued role Illinois serves as a leader in motorcycle safety education and awareness, do hereby proclaim the month of May this year, 2025, as Motorcycle Awareness Month in the City of Darien, and urge all motorists to join in an effort to improve safety and awareness in our roadways. And I believe we have representatives from ABATE here tonight.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. We are out there and,
Podium?
oh, go to the paper.
Good?
Just know that we're out there and we are, somebody's father, somebody's mother, somebody's grandparent. And we do a lot out there. We do a lot of charity work. We do, a lot of good out there, and we're providing education for today's youth to watch out for us. So, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
We really appreciate it. Thank
Well,
you.
it was interesting, I left my house tonight, I was coming down Kearney Road, and I had two motorcyclists right behind me, and I said,
And a lot of them are very slow, so
Giving you escort.
yeah. They escorted me to City Hall.
there you go. They're good guys. They are.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
All right. Mr. Gombic has a speaker for us tonight. We have another fiber optic group coming into the city of Darien by the name of Lumos. And Dan, I'm going to let you take it over and do the introductions.
Thank you. Excuse me. As many of you recall, a couple of weeks ago, we just approved a similar agreement for a company called Metronet. They also are in the fiber optic business, as you may recall. This evening, we have Alan Roth, who represents Lumos, who is another fiber net provider. They are going to be in the front of our homes, where again, Metronet is going to be in the rear of our homes. So not only will we have our backyards being very gently dug up, we also will have our front lawns somewhat dug up as well. Very gently, I say, and restored to 100% satisfaction. With that said, Lumos is here this evening to basically provide you with a little bit of who they are, what they do, where they're from, and where they're going. Alan, I guess you need my laptop at this point? Yeah. He's using my fiber cable. Let's see, you got it on email you sent?
Yeah, I emailed it over to you. Hopefully third laptop is a charm here.
Here's another cable.
That was nuts.
Everything's
Something
wrong.
on.
It's ironic.
Let's see.
Can't get a connection.
There we go.
That's your backyard.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Russ.
This one.
Jesus, great page. Wanna play?
It's not showing on the screen at all.
Go ahead. Oh, you know what, we have to set the setting. for-
Yeah.
There you go.
Perfect. Perfect, there we go. Thank you for your patience. We got that worked out. So, as Dad mentioned, my name is Alan Roth. I'm from Lumos Fiber. So, over the next couple minutes, we want to provide a high-value overview of basically Lumos, who we are, about our company, and what our plan is for the city of Darien. So, over the next couple of minutes, I just want to provide a little about what our investment is, what the construction process looks like, communication, and answer any questions that you have as well. First thing I always like to bring up is Lumos, we're very new to the community, right? This is the first time you're hearing our name. And even though we are new to the city of Darien, we're definitely not new to telecom. We've been serving the great states of North Carolina and Virginia for over 125 years. And then most recently, we've expanded to over 10 states across the East Coast, as you can see in the highlighted map there in purple. So we've been doing telecom, we've been doing fiber deployments for a number of years. We have years of experience in doing this. But getting into the actual why Darien is, based on internal research, we found 3 key things. There's currently lack of fiber, the city is experiencing tremendous growth, and there's a need for competition, for broadband competition in particular. Now, getting into some of the benefits of fiber versus what you currently see in the market today, like copper or coax, is fiber offers symmetrical speeds. So basically what that means is your download is the same as your upload. You don't have any of the degradation issues that you see with cable or copper services. So I mean by that is during those busy hours at the end of the day, when you currently notice a slowdown in your internet speed, you don't experience that at all with fiber. And not only that, one of the biggest benefits of fiber is it's future-proof. And what I mean by that is when it's in the ground, it can easily scale. So currently today we offer speeds from 500 megs all the way up to 8 gigs. That 8 gigs tomorrow can become 10 gigs, 20 gigs, and so on. It very easily scales with the city. And once that's in the ground, like I said, it very much future-proofs the community, allows them to continue to grow, provide those interconnections no matter what those future demands are. Now, one of the biggest things too is it brings competition to the community. Being a new provider, we hope the community chooses us as their next provider. What we totally realize that one of the main benefits of having another provider in town is that competition. It requires all the providers to step their game up. What I mean by that is services, pricing, customer service. It's one of the best things about having an open market there and having multiple options for the community is it requires all providers to really step their game up and provide a better level of service for the community. Getting into the construction process itself, the way we deploy and construct the city is we break it up into these little polygons, which are these different color shapes that you see. Technical term, they're called FDHs, or fiber distribution hubs. And basically what this does is allows us to systematically permit, communicate, construct, and turn customers throughout the community. What this allows us to do is it really allows us to work within Dan's team's limits, work within the city's limits, and work at a pace that's comfortable for you. Now, with any construction, let alone a project of this scale, it's disruptive, right? Easiest way to summarize this is a short-term pain for a long-term gain for the community. After years of doing this, we've understood that communication is key. Communicate early, communicate often, and the biggest thing is be visible and accountable to that. And so we developed this robust communication system that you can see here. So before permits are finalizing, or after permits are finalizing, around 90 days prior to us actually constructing the area, we send out this first mailer. Just basically says, hey, we're Lumos, we're gonna be constructing your area. If you have any questions, concerns, please feel free to reach out to us. We have a 1-800 number, a QR code, and also an email there that residents can visit or reach out to us directly. Around 30 days prior to construction, our teams will actually be placing yard darts in customers' yards. Again, notifying them that, hey, we're Lumos, we're gonna be constructing here. Again, another way for us to be visible and accountable to that. We also do the week of construction, we place door hangers on residents' doors. Again, we wanna make sure we're providing visibility to who we are, what's going on, and if they do have any questions, concerns, opportunity to contact or reach out to us. And then anytime we do have crews on the ground, we'll have sandwich boards in place. Again, another way for us to be visible and accountable to the community. Because the biggest thing is we want to be not only accountable, but we also want to be respectful. This is what those actual communications look like in the field. So you can see those yard darts there, those door hangers, those sandwich boards. And then all of our equipment is also labeled too as well. Again, key things there, we want to be visible and we want to be accountable. It's very easy to see the Lumos purple, so we're very easy identifiable. So if there are any questions or concerns, residents can reach out to us, ask any questions, concerns. We totally do realize that you being the trusted point of contact that they may reach out. We appreciate your collaboration and turning those back onto us. We have a triage system set up so we can get those logged and tracked. But again, we want to make sure we're accountable to the community and respectful to the residents. Not only that, we'll send out daily street sheets. This is so Dan's team knows where we are each day. We also share this with the local PD. So if there are any questions or concerns, we're easy identifiable. We're accountable again to those actions. If there are questions, concerns that do come in, we want to have those responded to within 24 hours. So our goal is to contact that customer that same day to get that resolved. Or also any type of complaints or issues that do come up, we want to make sure we have those resolved within that week. So 5 to 8 day turnaround for those. Again, the biggest thing that you can take away from this is we want to be visible to the community. We want to be accountable, but we also want to be respectful at the same time, because we totally realize that a construction project of any size or any scale can be disruptive. But the biggest thing is being communication and being accountable to that. That's all I have.
What's this gonna look like in front of my house?
So our deployment method uses a directional boring, directional drilling machine. It's basically a machine that will place cable directly into the ground. And if you want to come on up, can help provide some insight on that.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Louis. I'll be the construction project engineer for this area, Darien, Illinois. We're going to be actively working from Monday to Thursday. Friday will be our making sure we clean up, making sure all the tools and equipment, they're all in a safe area. So we want to make sure safety is the key for everything. All the constructions that we'll be doing, we're going to restore everything on a daily basis. Any grass, yard, or anything that gets, we're going to have time frame. We want to make sure it's efficient, clean as we can, and obviously communication is a key for everyone.
Is Julie marking everything? So you, like my irrigation system and other things, Julie will mark everyone's
Yes,
yard?
we do have the plats already for each property, for each addresses that we're going into. So Julie's going to give us some all the utilities that we have in place. Also, we have an engineering firm that's reviewing those, and part of the Darien team that's going to provide us with the utilities on that.
But what about my irrigation system, my sprinkler system?
So private utilities will help you locate those. So in that first communication, there's actually a paragraph in there that says, hey, if you do have any private utilities, please let us know. We'll help you locate those so they aren't disrupted at all.
And then are you storing things like overnight on the street or in properties, or are you removing everything every day?
We're going to find a space for that. Obviously, there's heavy equipment that we have. On the majority of the big equipment, we're going to find a space that doesn't impact any traffic or any liability on that. We could discuss that whoever once we do the planning with the team to see what would be the best area.
How long does it take you to do like, say, like one home or one, block? I mean, blocks are different in Darien,
Well,
and, everyone's.
We are going to break it to different sections, right? It's going to be depending on our areas of work, but we're trying to estimate about 500 feet of directional boring that we're going to do underground. So we're calculating about 2,500 a week. So that feeds us between 100 to 200 areas of properties. But this project is going to take each section, which we call a fiber distribution housing, is going to take us probably a month to work.
So those different color shapes that we saw, those polygons, typically it's around a 30-day turnaround for each one of those. Each one of those areas consists of anywhere from 200 to 500 homes. So typically we'll be down one neighborhood in basically a week or less.
And then what do we see on our property? Is everything underground? Are there boxes? Are there towers? I mean,
Yes. Everything is going to be.
What do you see?
Yeah, everything is going to be a flush we call it flower pots. That's the terminology that we use. That's gonna be like a handoff point, but it's gonna be flush. You cannot, the only thing is probably gonna see a little plate with the Lumos logo.
So now, like, we got the initial timeline from MetroNet in terms of what areas they're gonna hit. And I think based upon that map, the way I read it, my neighborhood and my ward's not for like a year. Are they gonna line up at the same time and be in the same areas at the same time? Or are they gonna be in separate parts of the city, coming to meet in the middle? I mean, what's the plan in terms of how they're gonna roll this out compared to their competitors?
As far as the logistics go in regards to scheduling, we have not confirmed that yet. So again, to me, if MetroNet's there, personally, I'd like to see Lumos on the other side. I don't know how the grid is working or where their infrastructure is all being tied to. So
Right.
again,
Because I'm gonna have neighbors asking me, what should I do? You know, do you want your front yard dug up? Do you want your backyard? Some people might be doing both. I mean, are they gonna, you know, who's cheaper? I mean, can we put together some kind of maybe a cheat sheet with comparisons so that I can share it with the neighbors and people in my ward? Because they're gonna be asking me, who do I go with, Jerry? And I'm gonna be like, I don't know. You know, you want your front yard dug up, but
You don't get a choice.
you know, no, I know, but
I don't think, I mean, they're doing it, if they're,
he's talking about future.
I'm talking about buying in future, but they're,
But we can't recommend staff.
No, but I mean, when people started asking me, they're gonna have a choice of going with Lumos or MetroNet. Everybody in the city has that choice.
Possibly one more coming up again.
they're going on all the property regardless.
I can provide some insight on that. So in the beginning of April, we actually closed a merger with T-Mobile. MetroNet, who's the other provider that you spoke to, is also currently going through a merger as well. There is still pending with the FCC. From the customer standpoint, they will see one brand, one name, and that's T-Fiber. So there won't be any confusion about who am I buying from, who's going with what, who has the cheaper prices. From the customer standpoint, it'll be one network, one services, consistent. They won't have to worry about calling two different providers, pricing those out. That's what we look for the future, is just have that one consistent network, and that will be branded and sold by T-Mobile. And one thing great for the community then, it allows them to go to their local T-Mobile store, order services, get questions, already in a local retail storefront that they already know.
Whether or not, I think to answer Jerry's question though, whether or not an individual household gets the service, they're still gonna have their property.
Yes, we have an obligation that we must serve every
Now,
home.
when MetroNet was here, MetroNet basically said, you may see at one of these flat boxes every 3 homes or every 5 homes.
Yep,
You're saying the same thing?
exactly.
Same concept.
Yep. It's a pretty standard kind of deployment method. Basically, every other home will have one of those small underground boxes. It's all flush mounted, similar to what they see today with like a water shut off or gas shut off.
So MetroNet in the rear yards and the easements, less propensity of having to take out sidewalk or concrete driveways. What's take on you? Are you guys?
We're gonna try to avoid that as much as we can. We don't wanna work on that. We have the option to work.
How often do you have to forego your normal plan? And
We focus on the front lot because of consistency. And the reason why that is I took a drive around the community and you see a lot of fences, sheds, there's dogs. With going through the front lot, it provides a consistent approach and deployment for us, where we don't have to go on private property. There's a lot less disruption, so it means a lot less calls, incidents with residents. And that's simply why it's consistent, it's less disruptive, because the hardest thing we have to explain to a resident is that there's a public utility easement in their backyard and their fence is potentially trespassing on their own property. That's one of the most toughest arguments that you can ever have with the community. So with us focusing on front lot, it's a lot easier, it's consistent, it is more expensive, it maybe take a little longer, but that's okay with us because we're gonna be more respectful of the community that way.
But you're still going on the easement of the front lot.
The right of way.
Right away.
The right of way, I'm sorry, the right of way.
Do you typically drill under the driveways, so you don't cut the driveway?
There is gonna be situations if that happens, but everything's gonna be underground.
It's gonna be drilled
Yep.
under.
Correct.
Typically drilled under.
Yeah.
But there are more utilities in the front than in the rears. I mean, there's more water, more gas lines, more,
Yeah.
so, I mean,
So
I'm
if
sure
you,
there's more risk when it comes to that with your,
Yeah, one thing nice about us is typically with those, they're at a deeper depth than what we operate at or deploy at. So we're typically deploying around 36 inches. Utilities are typically around like 72 inches or
72.
deeper.
you're
So-
at 36?
Yes, so we're a lot shallower
Yeah.
than what we'll run into.
We also have constant communication with Nicor Gas on a weekly basis. So we're gonna be in constant communication with them where we're gonna be doing work. So they could also be assisting us.
so and it's, maybe this is unfair assessment, but for every 100 homes that you guys would have to dig under, how many would you think you'd have to take out a driveway out of 100?
It's hard to say. Typically, we won't have to take out any driveways because we'll just bore right underneath of them. So there won't be any disruption to the driveway. And where we're placing the flower pots or those flush mount handholds, those are gonna be like in the grassy kind of parkway area, so we wouldn't be interfering with the driveway.
How many polygons
I'm sorry?
Polygons, you said this is the 30-day window on polygons. How many are there? And will there be?
On this, for right now, we have 2 sections that we are designed right now. There's a couple more happening. But this project is, we're thinking from 4 years or so.
Yeah.
To have, so Darien, this section, we're gonna start, I need to see my plan to be exactly, but we're gonna start on the east side of, close to.
We can get you clarity on that for the total number.
So you're looking at 40-ish?
Yeah, 40, 50.
So it would take 4 years, 48 months, somewhere in that window of time to complete it. Will the city be receiving your list of which one's first, which one's second?
Yes, definitely.
Down the list,
Yes.
so
We're
us
gonna
as
send a
individuals
priority.
can know when our specific communities are gonna be affected.
Yes. So one part of that is with the permitting, so Dan will always know where we are working, and then also too with those daily street sheets that we send out, that will give you our exact location of what streets we are working on each day.
But will we have advance a year notice on my particular community? I know I'm gonna be 7th, 8th, and 9th on your list or whatever. So when people say, when is this gonna happen? I go, well, about 7 months or something like that. So will each of us know where we are on the list?
Yeah, we can definitely work on getting you a priority list so you can be able to speak to that.
And I assume, because we do road work and curbs, and that you're gonna sync up your list with the city syncing up their road projects, because they have a master plan of road repair, because I mean, I think that would be a huge mess if both were happening at the same time on a given street.
Correct.
So, just to get it real specific, so you're on my block, and how long shall I expect you to be working in front of my house and on my property?
There's gonna be 2 sections. One is we're gonna do the conduit build, and then the cable placement can come afterwards, once we have like a certain section of connectivity. Let's say we have about 3,000 feet or 5,000 feet, that's when we're gonna connect the fiber side. And then later in the future, once whatever customer or homeowner decides to get our services, then another team comes over and does the connection from one of those flower pots, distribution lines, all the way inside the property.
That's once they decide to be a subscriber. I'm saying people who are just, this is happening, whether you're,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
just you're in front of my
I mean,
house, you're on my street, you're digging in my lawn. How long in a given week, how many days would you be in front of my house?
Essentially around 1 week. We're basically gonna be dead in the neighborhood and out within that 1 week in order for us to meet that 1 month turnaround for those 200 to 500 homes.
And those residents will be alerted, they'll know about it,
Yes.
they'll have time to, anything that they need to have marked or anything like that.
Correct, yeah, 90 to 120 days before we're even in that neighborhood constructing, that's when that first communication goes out. And then 30 days prior, we'll place those yard darts, and then week of door hangers. So yes, we definitely wanna make sure that they have optimal time to
Right, because
communicate.
there's some people that, are snowbirds in Florida or, spend, time away, and I think it'd be awful if they weren't, given proper notice. And what are your months of working? What is your, I mean, obviously you're not doing it in January, I didn't think. Or are you?
I mean, typically we start as long as the permits are approved, right? And it happens in springtime, summer, all the way to November, depending on, yeah.
You know, I think communicating information is critical. As I used to tell my teachers when I supervised them, my phone rings louder than yours. So as long as I have information that I could give somebody when they call, that's critical. And being the mayor, my phone will ring louder than almost anybody else's. And the alderman's next to mine. So having information that you believe we should know, it's critical to get that information to us.
Most definitely. Understood.
Yeah?
Okay, just a couple follow-ups in respect to some of the comments the alderman had. Potholing. Potholing is a term that's where utilities are under the ground. They are required to basically find them before they cross them. And it's basically done with a vector truck. Can you explain on the potholing, if you're gonna be potholing every utility?
Yes, so depending on what we find, where the utilities are, there's a lot of high traffic. Yes, we're gonna request the potholing area. Certain areas, what we're trying to do is make sure that the right of way is spaced enough. We try to avoid any other utilities, any other service providers that are in that path. So, but if in case there's a complicated turn or connection on a busy street or section, yes, there's gonna be potholing requested.
So for services, are you gonna pothole services or no? Because they're all laterals and the depths range from 18 inches to 5 foot. That's what you stated 72, so
Yes.
it's not the case for our utilities at all.
Utilities, okay.
So what happens on laterals?
On those, we're gonna be extra careful, depending on what the location tells us, how close we are. If we are very close to that, we may pivot to a different section on that. But other than that, I mean, we should pothole on the high traffic areas.
What's considered a high traffic area?
Well, when we have, according to the records, as you say, right, there's gonna be 18 feet or, 18 inches or if it's lower than 2 feet, we gotta make sure we do that.
So everything lower than 2 feet, you're gonna pothole.
Yes, well, and anything that's above 2 feet, we wanna make sure we're not, creating or causing any outages, so.
I'm sorry, I lost you. Above 2 feet, you're not gonna pothole. Below 2 feet, you're gonna pothole. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, because most of the utilities are all under 2 feet.
Under 2 feet, yeah.
Okay, that's Nicor, we have ComEd in there.
Yeah.
We have Comcast in some situations. Water services range from approximately 42
Okay.
to 5 foot.
Yeah.
Then you have water mains as well.
Okay.
Okay, and that's something that we've already vetted. In regards to, I think Alderman Kenny mentioned it, driveways. If they have to replace a driveway, I'm gonna give everyone an example. We're not gonna allow just a hole and a patch. On a concrete driveway, the entire slab will be pulled back to the first joint. And the width from side to side will be replaced. Okay, so there won't be patches in concrete driveways. Asphalt, same principle. More than likely, if they do a pothole, let's call it within a 6 foot area, asphalt has no seams. While asphalt has no seams, the rule of thumb will be from the roadway back approximately 2 to 3 feet and the entire width. Again, the city has been very conscientious, whether we have water main breaks or other utilities. They have also agreed to this in the actual licensing agreement, which is part of Exhibit B in here. There's other things that are in here as well on the restoration, so on and so forth. And one more point in regards to Alderman Sullivan's question in regards to irrigation and dog fences. Obviously, no one knows where dog fences are. Irrigation systems, if you guys can locate them, you guys can have this seat right now, okay? Because irrigation systems, let's face it, they're 1 inch thick. Many residents don't have as-built or anything on that. What is your policy on when they're identified that you hit them? What do you do?
Our policy first is if it's an obvious thing, right? Because we work everything underground, so we don't know what's
Correct.
happening.
Understood.
But we are gonna have a crew, a foreman. I'm gonna be the point of contact for any complaints or any issues that happens. After that, if there's a customer that's impacted or homeowner, they'll reach out to me and then I'll create a customer support, a construction support number that we have. And then we'll create a ticketing system. And that ticketing system is gonna take the details, the contact information, and make sure that we follow through and get that resolved.
Just for the residents that are listening, in the event that does happen.
Yes.
An irrigation and or a dog fence, how long does it take for you to repair it? I don't care about the paperwork, I just wanna know when it's fixed.
That, as far as dog fence, I don't have an estimate time, but whatever we have there on site, we could repair it immediately. I mean, I know there's a 5-day interval turnaround to get
On
things.
certain things, there's a 5-day, right,
Yes.
going back to the.
But if it's a minor thing, we wanna do it the same day.
So you're saying you're gonna repair it? I'm sorry, Dan, for the interruption. You're saying you would be repairing the sprinkler loines and the.
I will not be repairing myself, be the one making sure, following up that gets done.
Right, cause also like low voltage lighting for your, trees and then also, you've got, a lot of these homes are much older. I mean, the tree roots are gonna be significant. Is there any risk you're gonna run to damaged trees along with other things?
That's a good valid question. Those situations, I mean, we will not know until we're there, right?
Heck, I have 9 parkway trees. I mean, like my whole parkway or right of way, it's like, the city requires you to have a tree in your right of way. I mean, so it's like there's a lot of trees.
Yeah, with that, so one of the great things about the way we engineer the markets is we use LiDAR technology, which is basically a car driving down there and it takes a real life image of what that parkway looks like. So when we're engineering, we can take that into account and make sure that we're avoiding those obstacles early on in the engineering. If there's something that has changed since that's been engineered, Lewis has a lot of autonomy in the field to be able to update that and change that running path to ensure, like you said, we're not interfering with that tree bulb, that we're keeping a safe distance and maintaining the life of that tree.
And I'm sorry, just I'll continue from Mary's comments. We take the approach on dog fences. People value their pets, and I understand it. It's not fixed within 24 hours. We, the city, will tell that resident to go ahead and fix it, give us the invoice, and then we're gonna forward it to you as well.
That's right.
Irrigation systems, pending if it's a live irrigation system, they can't shut it off. They'll be similar to that, not to get into those logistics, but I want residents to hear that.
We'll definitely fix what we break. We're not here to leave the city in shambles.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Moving on to the city clerk's report, Joanne.
No report this evening.
City administrator's report. No report. Department head information questions. Any questions for Chief Thomas or Mr. Gondek, I think? Ted.
I got one for Dan and one for the chief. Hey, Dan, on Cherokee Drive as well as Darien Lane, they're doing are they doing valve replacements the last few weeks? Or what's been going on? Because they've dug up, people are asking, I'm like.
Matter of fact, we had some irony to this. We had a water main break, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. And suddenly, about 2 weeks ago, there was a resident identified banging in his house, literally banging, like pipes were banging. Our guys checked it out, couldn't determine anything. Took a walk down the block, asked a couple other residents, and residents said, yeah, we've got banging in our house too. So it must have been going on for about 4 weeks. It was going on right around the entire quadrant. It got to the point where you could hear this banging outside through your ear. We had a water main break again. The valves, we have finally identified, we checked all the valves, is what they call these bronze disc valves, or the older type of valves. And what we think happened, when it went back on, there's a valve, like a disc in there. I don't know if this valve had 2 discs or 1 disc, and it basically, the disc fell off on one. So what it was doing this. And that vibration was going out all over the place. An anomaly. I've never seen this in 42 years. But we did replace that valve, the noise went away.
Gotcha, okay.
So that's what you saw, but that's what this pretense behind it was.
Gotcha. Thanks, Dan. Chief, I know it was motorcycle week. Do you wanna give a PSA about these electric bikes and kids right now? They're a lot.
Well, it's going to be that season pretty fast if it's not already on us. I've seen some in my neighborhood, so I'm sure that they've been out and about. Last monthly report and last discussion, I brought up those e-bikes and the scooters. And, just everybody's gonna have to be aware that they're out there, and then we'll, as a group, need to make a decision about what you're going to do to regulate those. And so I have one more to come out to you for information, and then get together on what we want to do.
Okay.
Two Saturdays ago, downtown Downers Grove, I saw get on an electric bike. Gates are down, right through it.
That's scary.
I almost hit one yesterday,
Trains are a lot bigger.
real close to hitting one yesterday.
I mean, they're moving fast now.
They're moving really fast.
They've actually set off our speed, or our speed sensors, up to 50 miles per hour.
And they're young, it's crazy, individuals on them.
Thanks, Chief.
Any, Joe, you had some question for the chief.
Chief, anything you can, share with the community regarding what's happened in the last few weeks in Downers Grove and Woodridge with the break-ins along 75th, and then that Downers Grove had a stretch on Ogden Avenue?
Yeah, they've been hitting pretty good. Started about the first week of April. Downers Grove had a number of restaurants and other businesses hit. Come up, they've been either in a red car or silver car, throw rocks that they find at the location through the window, make entry, tobacco, liquor, and some other things that are typically taken. There's been a number of other towns that have been hit, Woodridge, Tinley Park, and others. So it's just super today, an opportunity for that people have taken to break in and take stuff out of those businesses. We've increased some patrols on midnight shift and making sure that the officers are frequently driving through those locations to try to prevent and interrupt those activities.
And I guess as far as the community is concerned, if we see something, pick up the phone.
See something, say something. You got your 911. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else for Chief Thomas or for Mr. Grombeck? If not, we'll move on to the report. We have 2 warrants. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm requesting council's approval for warrant number 242525 in the amount of $207,908.46 from the listed funds.
Motion to approve. Alderman Belzak, seconded by Alderwoman Sullivan. Any questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Belzak.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
The warrant's been approved. The second one, Mike?
Okay, requesting council's approval of warrant number 252601 in the amount of $153,254.35 from the listed funds and payroll for the period ended May 1st and May 2nd in the amount of $408,695.19. Total will be approved, $561,949.54.
Motion to approve. Alderman Shower, seconded by Alderman Stompanato. Any questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Shower.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
That warrant's been approved. Standing committee reports. Do any of the chair people have reports to inform the council of. Alderman Belzak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Municipal Services Committee, May meeting will be on Tuesday, May the 27th at 6 PM in council chambers.
Thank you. Alderwoman Sullivan.
The next Administrative Finance Committee will be held on Monday, June 5th at 6 PM in the City Hall Conference Room.
Thank you. Mr. Kenny.
Thank you, Mayor. The next police committee meeting will be held on Monday, May 19th, 6 PM across the parking lot of the police training.
Thank you. That takes us to questions and comments, agenda related. This is a section of our meeting where we can discuss, the audience can come up and ask questions about anything on our agenda. If not, we're going to move on to old business. There being none, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. And I'd just like to mention that item D is now an item E under new business, and item J is now item F under new business. Consideration of a motion granting a waiver of the $50 a day fee for the Class J temporary liquor license for the Darien Lions Club, concerts in the park, the 26th, 31st, and 28th of August. Item B, motion to grant a waiver of the $50 a day fee for the temporary liquor license for the Darien Lions Club for the 2025 Darien Fest on August 8th, 9th, and 10th, 2025. Item C, consideration of a motion granting a waiver of the $50 a day fee for the Class J temporary liquor license for the Darien Lions Club for the Oktoberfest, which is October 4th, 2025. Item D, consideration of a motion authorizing the purchase of a Phase 4 leak logger program consisting of 217 leak logger units from Gutterman Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $219,441.70. Item E, consideration of a motion authorizing the purchase of two solar speed alert 18 speed limit signs from All Traffic Solutions Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $11,000. Item F, consideration of a motion authorizing the purchase of one new Factory Cat Mini HD 29C walk-behind scrubber from Factory Cleaning Equipment Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $14,212. Item G, consideration of a motion accepting proposal for a preventative maintenance agreement, annual evaluation, and operator training for the Vector Sewer Cleaner from Standard Equipment in an amount not to exceed $8,500. Item H, consideration of a motion accepting a proposal from TKB Associates Incorporated for digitalizing, cataloging, software, hardware, and programming in an amount not to exceed $49,140 for the planning and zoning, and in an amount not to exceed $39,190 for the clerk's office historical records. Item I, consideration of a motion to approve an ordinance approving a master license agreement with Lumos Fiber of Illinois LLC for the use of the city's right-of-way for the installation, operation, and maintenance of telecommunication facilities. Motion to approve. Alderman Kenny, second by Alderman Shower. And the roll.
Kenny?
Aye.
Shower?
Aye.
Sullivan?
Aye.
Belzak?
Aye.
Lizianski?
Aye.
Campagnano?
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
The consent agenda has been approved. That takes us to new business. And I'm happy to announce that we'll be installing or re-swearing in our council members tonight. And Joanne, would you like them to come up in front by
Sure, however,
Ted? We'll start with Alderman Shower.
Do you want us all to come at the same
Yeah,
time?
why don't you all go out there so you're all ready for it? We'll start with Ted, then Joe, then Mary, and then Tom.
I'm tagging in the replacement photographer tonight, Mark Sullivan. keeping it in the family.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ted Shower,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of
and
Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
Alderman Ward 1
Alderman Ward 1
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Are you sure about this?
This is my alderman.
Stay up here, we'll get a group
Please
picture.
raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Joe Kenny,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
Alderman Ward 3
Alderman Ward 3
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Mary,
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Mary Coyle Sullivan,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
Alderwoman Ward 5
Alderwoman Ward 5
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Alderman Belzak.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Thomas Belzak,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution for the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
Alderman Ward 7
Alderman Ward 7
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Yeah, let's run together.
Did you
See, everyone's here. I'm gonna have Mark take a group picture. You guys all stand up in the back. And then we'll be in the front.
Why don't you guys all come up,
Yeah, come on, guys, and Mark will take a group one.
Ryan, Jerry? Yeah, we're all gonna.
Yeah, you guys stand and we'll be back here. We'll be in the front.
Again.
Okay. Can you see everybody, Mark? Okay.
A rose between three thorns.
Thank you, honey. Okay.
I want to congratulate all of you on all those hard-fought campaigns you waged, especially Alderman Shower. Congratulations to all of you. You know, as mayor, the success of a city is really based on your council and how well we work together. And we have disagreements, and we may have a few more disagreements, but we have disagreements, but somehow we leave those behind. And we forge ahead because everyone on this council has one agenda, and that is to enrich the lives of the residents of the city of Darien. And that makes me very proud to be able to say that. I talk to other mayors through DMMC, and I understand that everything's not always copacetic on a city council. And here in Darien, we have a council that works together for the betterment of our residents, and our residents should be very proud. And I'm extremely happy that I have the four of you back again, because to me, that means a lot to know that I can count on you to continue the hard work that we all have ahead of us. So congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, item B, consideration of a motion to advise and consent to Mayor Marquez's council committee appointments and chairman thereof. Motion to approve, Alderman Shower, seconded by Alderman Belzak. Any questions or comments? As most of you have seen, I didn't change anything. I went with what was working, so. If nothing, the roll.
Shower.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Kenny,
Aye.
Leganski.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
That item's been approved. And now I'm fortunate to be able to say that I'm asking for the reappointment of department heads. Greg Thomas, Police Chief, Daniel Gombeck, Director of Municipal Services, and Julie Sands, our Finance Director. Motion to approve. Alderman Shower, seconded by Alderwoman Sullivan. Any questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Shower.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Leganski.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
Chief Thomas and Mr. Gombeck, would you like to come forward, please?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Dan Gombeck,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully
the
discharge
duties of
Duties of Police Chief.
Director of Municipal Services
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
All right, here, let's do it again. Come on.
There we go. Look at me smile, guys. There we go. All right.
There you go, dear.
Now you can unbutton your jacket.
Would either of you like to say something? or-
Greg, go ahead.
Congrats, Chief. Thanks.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks. Hey, congratulations.
Ryan, thanks. Thank you, Joe.
Welcome back.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Dan.
Jerry, great. It's my brother.
All right. Item D, consideration of a motion to approve a motion to adopt the intergovernmental agreement, the IGA Exhibit A, between the Darien Park District and the City of Darien Police Department regarding the use of South Grove Park Pond for the Youth Fishing Tournament 2025. Motion to approve. Alderman Belzak, second by Alderman Stompanato. And again, any questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Belzak.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Leganski.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
Right, would you like to just say something for the public? I know we could all read it, but
Sure, it's June 7th at 10 o'clock. It's another way of trying to reach out to the community. It's called Cops and Bobbers. So once it's approved, as it just was, we will reach out to the community and get participants and officers and talk about it for a while. So they're looking forward to having a fun event with kids from the community.
thank you. Great idea.
Yeah,
That's a wonderful idea.
definitely.
Okay, item E
Six.
is consideration of a motion accepting the proposal of a 3-year contract, including hardware, web application, service and support for 5 ground cast sensors from, I think it's Visala Incorporated, in an amount not to exceed $8,000 per year for a total of $24,000 for the 3-year contract. Motion to approve. Alderman Stompanato, seconded by Alderman Belzak. And again, questions or comments? Alderman Leganski.
Thank you, Mayor. I know I expressed some of my concerns in the pre-council meeting. Dan, something came to me. Does this contract, the 3 years, line up with the current one that we have? Because we already started the other one. So does this kind of match them up into the same period, that they're both gonna expire at the same time?
I'm not sure about the first one, but this one I know has been projected on a 3-year budget. So I'm sure we have the other one, and I'm not sure when the expiration date is.
Okay, because I was thinking if we could line them up, and then at least after the 3 years, I'd like to just see some analysis in terms of, I love data, so look at the 3 years of the time that we've been utilizing the system with this as well, and look at, is it saving us money? Is it bringing a return to the, to the city?
Well, by all
Is what I would
means-
ask.
By all means, especially with the increase in the anti-icing, I forecast that we will see.
Because when we first came up with the first system, part of it was presented on it's gonna, it's better data, it's better information. We can react, we can plan, we can be more efficient with where we put our crews, because it could be different conditions in my ward compared to Tom's or Mary's. And then at the same time, with the amount of, chemicals you have to put down and salt. But maybe after the 3 years of being on this project, I'd love to be able to just take a snapshot and say, the 3 years prior and, the 3 years that we're on the system, and just see, are we getting the bang for the buck?
Sure,
That's all I ask.
100%, and, yeah, we will start that tracking, even with the summer rains, for example, whatever that means.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If none, the roll.
Stompanato,
Aye.
Belzak,
Aye.
Kenny,
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
Shower,
Aye.
Leganski,
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
Motion's been approved. Item F, consideration of a motion to approve an ordinance rezoning property from R2 to R3 and approving a special use and zoning variation for the construction of condominiums, PZC 2025-06, commonly known as 1220 to 1225 Plainfield Road, Atlantic Homes Incorporated. Motion to approve. Alderman Shower, second by Alderman Belzak. And again, questions or comments? Alderman Leganski.
Thank you, Mayor. Some of the concerns I had with the development is parking. I currently have an issue in my ward with an association where even with garages and even with places for people to park, we've allowed parking on the street. And we've had issues already where, that's not even enough. We have other people from the community parking there. So I think just the way it currently lays out, because it's just not a very good, nice rectangular plot. I brought these issues up at the municipal services meeting as well. That those garages along the south there, Building 1, the proposed Building 1 is just far away from everything. That it's just gonna be an inconvenience, I think, for anybody that lives there, that they just can't pull up and go into their condo. They're gonna always have to be parked somewhere else to come. The right turn only out of the new development, because that's gonna be the only way to get into that development now, is that new proposed street. So anybody heading west on Plainfield has to turn around Leicester and come around. So I'm concerned about that it's not gonna be very, just the way it lays out, that there's gonna be a lot of people having to turn around Leicester to come in there. If Uber Eats comes, they might have to go on Leicester, cut through the development to deliver. I know it's a unique area of land. I just don't really like the layout. I think parking's gonna be a problem going forward. And the right turn only out of the development. So I just really have some concerns with the overall project.
You want to respond, Dan?
Yes, just to 2 points. The second one in regards to right in, right out. Let's face it, intuitively, that's not a good idea. One thing that I spoke to the developer just a little prior to the meeting was they need to consider the plan to have a full left and a right in and a right out only. I think that's something that's more palatable and intuitively makes sense. And to your point, yes, where are the Uber drivers gonna go? The pizza drivers, they're gonna pass it going westbound and they're gonna turn down Leicester Lane. Why? Because it's right there. So that's something we're gonna pass on to the county as a comment. At the end of the day, it is a DuPage County roadway. So we can provide that recommendation, but they're not mandated to follow our direction by no means. So I just wanna make sure of that. Also, the address on there, if everybody knows, it's got this 1220, 1225 address. This is something that's been out there for years. The records, DuPage County Records Department will not clean it up until there's this change of ownership, whatever, a new plat. 1220, believe it or not, is the actual water tower, so obviously the water tower is not getting developed. In regards to the Parking, if the petitioner here is this evening, they did at the Municipal Services Subcommittee say that they were gonna look into increasing 2 to 5 parking spaces. And in conjunction with, whether the proximity from the garage to the condo, staff doesn't have any comments on that portion, but obviously developers here, so you do have that opportunity to ask them. And keep in mind, this plan is preliminary, okay? Engineering for stormwater has to be completed yet. The DUDOTs or Department of Transportation, DuPage County, they need to basically review this. So it's not just if there's an approval for this tonight, it doesn't mean they start building tomorrow. We're gonna go back to this whole process, from the planning and zoning, to the municipal services, to the city council again. Thank you.
Mary?
Yeah, I too have a concern. I talked to Dan today. I also talked to Andrew Brunson from Modell. I'm familiar with Leicester Avenue. It's obviously it's a dead end street too, so there's not even a throughway. I myself, because I wanted to get a full lay of the land, I drove down Leicester Lane, and the only way to get out of Leicester Lane was to help myself to somebody's driveway. So I apologize. Lovely home, but that was the only way to get out of there. But I was doing it for research, and I think that's going to happen. By whether it's visitors, I don't think the people living there will do, because they'll know how to get in and out of their building. But the people visiting them, the Uber Eats, the Uber drivers, and really, if not, they're going to go down to the next subdivision, which also is not a throughway, or it's over by the ABC land, and have to do turning around in someone else's driveway or someone else's neighborhood. But at least those other communities past there, you can turn around on the street because there's like a little roundabout. Whereas on Leicester Lane, the only way to turn around is to help yourself to somebody's driveway. And so it's a really tight street, and it's right there. I guess my question is, there's going to be no driveway then from Leicester Lane into the thing. Everything's going to be accessed in and off of 70 on Plainfield Road.
Correct.
And the new road that they're proposing.
And the new road.
Right.
To get into the new road is for the purpose of the garages.
And to get in,
And
and
to
to
get
come,
into the parking lot, so is the parking at the front of the buildings, that 8 spaces currently?
No.
Or is it's that spot at the back, right, behind the building?
Right.
Okay, like back here? Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. And then out of the 8 spaces, 2 are handicap?
It's gonna have to make the handicap ratio per the city code. So if they show 1 on there, it might be 3 at the end of the day. So again, all the parking has to work out. And there's also,
But if you're not handicapped, then that only leaves you with potentially 5 spots of a guest, or
and there's a potential increase to
potential though.
5, correct.
2 to 5.
Right, and the garages are 2-car garages. But realistically, who puts 2 cars in a 2-car garage? It's usually like a 1-car, so, okay. I mean, I think that there's gonna be more cars, even before you even have a visitor, or before you even have a guest, there's gonna be more cars for people in that building than their spaces. And so, I think Modell's concerned about people trying to park their cars in their lot. Then we've got the building on the corner, we'll call it the digital sign building. But, where are people gonna park extra cars?
And the petitioner is here this evening too.
So I'm concerned, it's really tight, it's just really, really tight.
Anyone else?
And that was my concern also, with the parking. And in addition to the Uber Eats, I look at a more difficult situation is Amazon. Because Amazon comes 6 times a day, and with 16 units, they'll probably be there every day, several times a day.
Or FedEx or
Or
UPS.
FedEx.
They're bigger trucks.
And bigger trucks, and just the access to get them in there, and then having them go to deliver those packages, that's gonna kind of bottleneck even for the residents to get in, because that's a pretty tight street, if you will, by the garages.
And you've got a parking lot directly across the street
Right.
that people will possibly utilize it,
Right.
which is the State Farm, Realty Executives, and you got DuPage Medical Group. So if you get somebody parking in that lot and then trying to running across the street,
Right.
running across Painfield Road, that's a hindrance.
I know we've had some residents here that might want to address the council. Jackie, did you want to say anything tonight?
I would say that you have addressed the major concerns we have. It's the density.
You want to come to the microphone,
Sure.
just state your name.
My name's Jackie Price. I live at the very end of Lester Lane, the south end. We've spoken to the developers, and our concern is the density of the project. The property is zoned for 12, and they want to put 16 there because that's what they have the plans for that they've done before. So we're concerned about that. And then at the municipal meeting, that's when they came back with and said that they were gonna do the right in, right out, whether that's because of the county regulations for Plainfield or trying to address our concerns about the traffic and stuff that we're gonna end up seeing on our street. I don't know which it is. I think right in and right out only are gonna be even more problematic for Lester Lane. Because like you've said, they're gonna pass us, they're gonna pass that entrance, go down Lester Lane. Or because they can't make a left if they're heading west, they'll turn on Lester Lane, park, drop off whatever it is that they're delivering, and then they're gonna end up in any one of our driveways on the road. And it happens all the time anyway. Or what I also was thinking about today is that they're gonna do a big U-E at the entrance of our street because it is a little bit wider than the rest of the road. But they'll just do a U-E in there, or they'll do a U-E at Adams. So that's the biggest problem. We're thrilled that there's something going to be done there, but I'm not sure that this is the best fit, the way it's proposed.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience? I'd like to make a comment. Probably Ted and Joe and Tom might remember this, but we had a parcel of land called the Gardner property on Manning Road. And the Gardner property was odd shaped, had a lot of issues to it. And McNaughton came in and proposed a subdivision over there. And he asked for anywhere between 14 to 15 variations for that property. The fact of the matter is, we have a lot of unique parcels in the city of Darien. And we can't look at everything in terms of black and white. Does it meet everything that we want it to meet? We have to look in terms of what we can allow and what we can work with and what we can work through. We had a lot of people go to the microphone when Manning Road was discussed, including my good friend Art Donner, hated the development. And now the people who live in that subdivision will tell you they loved that development. We had one lot that was 7,000, we had another one that was 8,000, where we required 10,000. We have one lot there that's 14,000. If you go past that subdivision today, it's a beautiful subdivision, and the people in that area have stated how they feel it's added to the quality of their homes. So I'm asking the council, you have a lot of unique parcels like this parcel of property. And you need to understand whether or not you're gonna hold to everything specific and say, I won't accept it unless it's this, or if you're gonna try to work through the issue. Mr. Gombic will tell you, you're only approving conceptual, correct, Dan?
That is correct.
And everything's gotta come back again. And we have a developer who is dealing with a very, very rigid property owner. And he's invested a lot of money in that, in the process already. And so I'd like you to consider that, consider what I said. I know you have your concerns. I think Mr. Gombic has talked to I've talked to Mr. Modelsky. He has talked to Mr. Brunson. They've explained the water runoff. I was at Municipal Services. I heard the same discussion with regard, planning and zoning. I heard the same discussion. We can't redirect the water somewhere else. It's against code to do that. But we can make sure that there's no additional water that goes on that property. Do you have concerns? Yes. Are they legitimate concerns? Yes. but I think you need to think of a way to really work out the issue. This is one of the best uses of that property. And somebody said, well, it's too dense. Well, the owner and the developer answered that and said, from what I'm spending on the property, what I'm spending to develop the project, I have to make my money back. He's not gonna build it for charity and lose money on it. So 16 units will provide him with what he needs to cover his costs, not 12, not 8. Somebody said at the meeting, it'd be nice to have a building with just 8. Yeah, it would be nice to have a building with just 8. But that's not gonna get him his money back. So, do I sound like a proponent? Yeah, I am. I think this is good use of the property. I think Jackie's got concerns, the Lester Lane people have concerns. I like to see the city council and municipal services and everything from this point on work to alleviate those concerns. And again, DuPage County may not come through, correct, Dan?
That's true.
And it may go down in flames with that. But let's, as a council, be open-minded about the fact that we have unique properties like this that require additional thought. And that's all we have in Darien left, are unique properties. The only property that is not unique is Chestnut Court. And that, in some respects, is unique in terms of how you're gonna look at that. So I offer you that. You're gonna vote the way you're gonna vote, but consider the fact this is a unique parcel. Okay? Enough said. Anyone else want to?
Do we know, I don't think I've read anything, what are these condos gonna be listed for? Like what type of selling price are we looking to get out of these? I mean, Mayor, I understand what you're saying. In my previous life, I dealt with a lot of unique situations where we had to build. You know, I mean, we could go to underground parking, we could have something really, I think that could be very marketable and very prestigious for people to have underground parking. And now we've taken that spot, now we're adding costs, but maybe we can get it back in terms of getting a higher ask for whatever they could sell that property for. I think the marketability of that one building, just because it's so far away from everything, it's gonna be a tough sell. Again, I don't know their business as well as they do, but, you know, if it was underground parking, if we had more parking in terms, I just see issues coming where it's gonna keep continuing in terms of parking on Lester, the turnarounds, whoever has these garages are far away from their building. Is that area gonna be lit properly because it's off by itself? So I understand there's always gonna be challenges, but, you know, there's always engineering. I'm not too worried about the water. I think the water can be addressed in terms of the engineering and the civil engineers. But I think maybe we have to think a little bit outside the box in terms of, maybe there's a way to enhance that property that it's can even be more desirable to people. So that's my concern.
Anyone else?
Just a final thought, and just talking about it today, did we impose the right in, right out, or was that what they suggested, or?
It started with some agreement, if you wanna say, for it to be amicable. The developer was willing to do what staff had recommended. At the same time, you know, it still intuitively doesn't make sense.
Was that because it's so close to Cass, or?
You know,
Because you've got a driveway that's about 30 feet to the east that is either way in and out.
and there's different routes, you know, there's different routes, but from a, you know, a common sense standpoint, you're driving westbound, you wanna get into your place.
Right.
It's not like 75th Street, so
I'm just concerned about emergency vehicles even trying to get into that.
that's something else that needs to get
Yeah,
reviewed.
so those are the things that I think that can be worked out before you're finished and say, why did we do that?
Correct, I mean, the fire department's gonna look at
Right.
their turning radiuses, where the engines
Right,
can
right,
go. So that is looked at also.
Yeah, I'm feeling like I'm having a little deja vu with that proposed development that never came to fruition on Plainfield with the size of the streets, the turning radius, the right lane only thing, but that was obviously, I'm sorry, on Boughton, not 75th Street.
Correct, 87.
You know, that was obviously, you know, but the county is the one that kind of intervenes with that, correct?
That's 100% correct. We can provide some suggestions, not required to listen to our inputs.
Anything else?
It's a unique property from a standpoint when you're looking at values. You're looking at supply and demand issues in Darien. There's not, as far as newer condos like that, there is not a lot now. I've not always been the greatest with prices on, townhomes. As of late, I got one specific house that's in my mind right now. I'll leave that one alone. But it's gonna be, those are gonna be some good prices. People are gonna wanna go ahead and buy in there, just because of the proximity of the downtown. You're right, Mayor, you're right, we were on that, for the rolling nose, but I gotta believe that, Manning Road is a little different than Plainfield Road. But I don't think they're gonna have a problem selling, I don't think they're gonna have a problem selling those condos, not at all.
But did you get your answer on the approximate price of them? I don't think. The proposed asking price?
I haven't heard anything.
If I were,
The developer's available for questions.
Can we ask that?
I mean, cause I know the place in
Can you come
Lyle,
up to
where,
you don't want me to throw
Yeah.
a number out.
because in Lyle, they're all apartments currently,
Right.
correct?
They'll be in the range of 350, 360, 375, depending on the market at the time.
And is there an elevator in the building?
No, it's 2-story, so it doesn't require by law. It only has 2 stories, so 4 units on each floor.
I mean, I went out to Lyle and saw them with Ralph, and I mean, they're beautiful, don't get me wrong. I really love them. I just wish it was a little bit better property. Is there any other storage in the units for people to put things, or it's only in their own units and then in their garages?
And in the front patio or the porch area where the patio's at, there's a storage area in there, so we don't have any barbecues showing in the winter time or anything like that. We remove them off.
So people share all that?
No, each
On their own
each
patio.
individual has its own.
Part of the
you.
patios.
It's on the balconies. Yeah, so that you don't have this.
There's no basement.
No basements. No basements. And we will accommodate that extra parking. That's not a problem.
Can I say something? Like as far as the parking, like there's a lady here, right? We're concerned about like people not parking in the garages. Like I think there will be up to association to control it as well. They make rules and regulations, and obviously, there will be 16 different homeowners.
The homeowners
So,
association.
I mean, and if there is like, we have 8 and now we can, add additional, maybe 4 parking spots, so we're gonna have 12 additional. So, I'm sure the association will take care of it.
And will it be one association for both buildings or 2 associations?
It'll probably be one association for both buildings, because it'll be easier to manage.
So I would just leave it up to the homeowners, and I don't think they will be wanna, fight over the parking spots. So they probably, if we will start the association, we will make the rule that, people need to
Has to
park in the
park in the
garages. That those parkings, additional outside parkings are only for visitors.
Is there a reason why the Lyle property are apartments and not condos?
No, there's not, it was actually zoned that way, so we had no problem in even getting it rezoned. It was a weird piece of land, to be honest with you, because it's in the middle of residential, commercial. It's like this little piece, so it was already zoned that way.
It was, okay.
Yeah, it was an easy one.
If we, if we could get apartments here, we would love to, but I'm sure City of Darien would rather have condos, so. That's why,
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments? None, the roll?
Shower,
Aye.
Elzak,
Aye.
Kenny,
Aye.
Leganski,
No.
Stompanato,
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
5 ayes, 1 nay, and 1 absent.
The motion's been approved. We wish you good luck. You got a tough road ahead of you. But you've got a gentleman over there who's willing to work with you, so take advantage of that. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, that takes us to questions and comments and announcements of a general nature. To anybody have any announcements they want to share? If
Can you say
none,
anything about Darien Dash?
pardon me?
Are you gonna say anything about Darien Dash?
Yeah, I was going to mention the Darien Dash is coming up. We also have our Darien Business Alliance luncheon on May 14th at the Alpine. We have a speaker from Crow LLP who's going to be addressing the topic of AI and how you could harness the power of AI to improve your business. The lunch is courtesy of the Darien Business Alliance. We currently have a little over 30 people. We'd like to get 70 to 100. So if you haven't registered yet, please let April know. The other thing is, just to update you, Brian brought up something in admin finance, and that was about the strategic plan. One of the aspects of our strategic plan is to develop a stronger working relationship with the Darien Park District. I wrote President Jablonski an email last week where I detailed our strategic plan. In other words, I gave him the every aspect that we have in that plan. And I said, what we'd like to have is we'd like to have a meeting between the city council and the commissioners to develop core values, common interests, ways we can work together. And Ray responded with a question, and the question was, how many people you're gonna have at this meeting? And I said, 7 aldermen and your 5 commissioners, not me, not Brian, not Stephanie, not any of the staff, but the aldermen working with their 5 commissioners. And we're looking at the possibility of having a facilitator, someone who would facilitate the discussion, somebody maybe like Katie Rush, who did our strategic plan. And I told Ray there is no way we're gonna proceed until we get information back from that gathering. Well, that was on their agenda tonight. They were gonna discuss our proposal. So in the next couple of days, I'm gonna hear a response from them with regard to this meeting. I talked to Brian today, and I mentioned to Brian that I really think that if it goes through, that I like to have a facilitator who can ask the tough questions of both groups and collect the data and then give us a report on that data so we know how to proceed with our strategic plan. So I just wanted to update you on that, let you know that I've gone ahead and I'm initiating that because we said we would have this meeting in the first quarter of the year. Well, we're past the first quarter of the year, so it's really time to get together and have this group meet. And I realize that some of you have taken the initiative of going over there. I know Jerry, you went over there, had a nice tour of the facility. Joe, she said you were over there last fall. And according to what I understand, Lou Ann Spiros has extended herself to a number of you to meet with you individually. So, and I think all of that is good, but it's not the same as having this meeting.
It's been great.
She's been meeting with us regularly. So, I mean, she'll call you like the day before just to confirm it. I've had to miss the last 2 hours.
So
I've met with her and it's been very productive and
Very
it's
positive.
just getting to know what she does with the Park District and the roles and I think this meeting would be excellent.
When I hear, whatever they discussed tonight, Ray said he'll get back to me in a couple of days. And he'll send me an email or he'll call me on the phone to let me know. And what I'll do is I'll share that information with you. Brian and I will talk about how we could set this up. And if they do want to have the meeting, we'll do that. We'll set it up and we'll get information all of you. Because getting the 7 of you and the 5 of them together is going to mean people changing their schedules and stuff. So we'll do what we can to facilitate them, okay?
I would just avoid, if it's gonna be during the summer, I'd avoid the weekends and make it during the week.
Yeah.
So.
Well, rather do it sooner rather than later, to be honest with you. All right, that's all I have. Anybody else? Motion to adjourn. Ed Schauer, seconded by Alderman Tom Belzak. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.